So you're thinking about buying a premium hunting blind this year? Watch this video and decide which one is best for you. Hi, this is Matt at Reed's Custom Food Plots. You know, one of the things that we've done for many years is install premium hunting blinds for our clients. And over that time, we have seen just about all of the models that are available in the market. Today, as we stand here, we are a dealer for 360 hunting blinds because we believe in them. They've been a really, really good product for us, and we've had to service them very little. But we have experience and have installed almost every major blind in the market. So today, we're going to walk you through each of the major blinds that we've seen most often, talk about some of the features and pitfalls of those. We have lots of them that have been in the field for many years, and we're going to be able to show you what these blinds look like after several years of use in the field. So a blind that we get asked about a lot is the Muddy Bowl blind, and I'm here inside one of our customers' Muddies that we installed 3 years ago for them. I'm up in here today doing some maintenance on this property. We crawled inside the blinds, tons of issues here to talk about. First and foremost, this blind has a very wet floor. This blind has been leaking for some time, and there's staining on the floor. The carpet is all detached. You can take the carpet right out of here due to the wetness that's occurred. You look at the windows in the Muddy blinds are glass windows. They're quality windows, they're clear, and if you want them tinted, you have to go to one of these setups with these screens and Velcro. Almost all of the Velcro is gone from here. These are very brittle, they're very worn, they're starting to get torn and ripped. Lots of debris in here from moths and ants and all kinds of critters that have been inside this blind. I think that's probably because you'll be able to see in a minute here, there's a lot of daylight around the door. The door has become delaminated and it's pretty significantly warped, and you can see daylight on all four sides of the door. Just a lot of big quality issues here that 3 years in for a blind that was well over $3,000, you certainly wouldn't expect, and certainly is not an acceptable end result just a few years into owning this blind. When it comes to a tower to put your blind on, the good majority of blinds in the market are using a system similar to this. This is just an angle iron bracing. The legs are all angle iron, the bracing on the bottom is angle iron, the cross bracing is angle iron. It's pretty flimsy, it's got way too many bolts in it, and just does not have the durability that we see in blinds like the 360, which are using solid tubular steel. We're using adjustable stainless airline cable for the cross bracing. And so on and so forth. So big difference in quality, big difference in longevity that you're going to see in the towers. So we're just continuing on this property tour at a different Muddy blind. Again, 3 years old, looking up at the bottom of this. Still here, significant water damage in all the corners. These blinds are obviously leaking pretty significantly. They're going to be rotted out completely here in the next couple of years. So one more Muddy blind to look at from the outside. This one still has significant water damage. You can see the bubbling on the outside. The plastic is actually delaminating from the rest of the blind. Most of the weather stripping is cracking around these windows. Again, just a continuing problem that we've seen with most of these Muddy blinds. So the good majority of blinds have a hinged window system, just like you see here. And all of these hinged window systems kind of have the same faults. First and foremost, when you open these windows, they all open to the inside of the blind, and it takes up space. So if you've got a gun or a bow and you're trying to maneuver, you don't want to have to maneuver around your window to get your shot. So most of these are all opening to the inside. The other thing that we see in a lot of these hinged window systems is the weather stripping. So on this particular Muddy blind, you can see there's 3 latches that come to this, and this window has been closed for some time. Well, it didn't exactly pop right open, and now I'm left here trying to figure out how in the world can I get this window open. And we see this a lot. Actually, I don't know how I'm going to get this window open without going outside and pushing it from the outside. So if you live anywhere in the northern third of the United States that gets significant snow, this blind is not going to be a very good option for you. Muddy has actually gone to putting stickers on their windows now that talk about if you have more than 6 inches of snow on this roof, you either need to brace the roof or continually remove the snow. Not very realistic here in the northern part of Wisconsin. So I'm standing at the base of a redneck blind that was installed on this customer's property 5 or 6 years ago. A couple things to point out here that we've noticed. So first and foremost, on the bottom, you'll notice these blinds have weep holes that were drilled through the bottom of the floor to allow water to get out, which means water got in. You'll see on the inside water did in fact get into this blind. When you look at the tower itself, the tower again is an angle iron tower, just like the Muddy blind that we looked at. When you're going up the ladder here, when we're going up the ladder, there is only one grab rail. So for our older customers, a lot of times that can become a safety issue for guys that don't have as good a balance. So when you go up, you've only got one place to hang on to. And then when you get up here to the top, you've got a door that swings to the outside. Not so bad. Coming out, it can get a little tricky. Guys got to turn around backwards, manage the door, manage with one handle, and get himself down. So from a safety perspective, we don't like that quite as well. All right, so we moved up to the inside of this redneck blind. A couple things to point out. One, the fiberglass construction of this blind seems to have held up pretty well. We're 5 or 6 years into it. There's no daylight, no cracks. Doesn't seem to be too bad, so that's a positive thing. On the downside, we still have this window system that's got a hinged window that opens to the inside of the blind. So to get these things open, you've got these spring-loaded latches. There's a lot of movement in here to try to get this open. And then with this weather stripping, this window did not pop open. So this window, like most, is stuck. So when you open this, you're gonna have to pop this open and peel that off to open your window. Your window's all opening to the inside. It gets pretty tough. We do see consistently that these windows tend to leak, and the evidence of that is on this shelf. You can see there's significant weathering and water damage on the shelf. Redneck has updated this to get rid of the wood shelves, I believe. But again, you still see water damage in here. And if you need further evidence of the water damage, there is carpet on the floor. That's kind of what we're seeing on the inside of the redneck after 5 or 6 years. All right, so here we are at a 360 hunting blind that was put in and installed in this location about 6 years ago. This blind is in exactly the same shape it was the day we put it in. A couple things to note here. The tower on this blind, like we mentioned on several others, is not angle iron. This is an actual solid steel tube, goes all the way from the top to the bottom. Instead of the angle iron cross bracing, we have the stainless steel airline cables with turnbuckles, so this stays tight without wrenches and ratchets and everything else. This blind is as solid today as the day we put it in. Coming over to the ladder as we go up, one of the things that we've always liked about the 360 blind is having 2 handrails for your way up. This was an original design from 360. Their steps now have been converted to platform steps instead of the rebar steps that you see here. But otherwise the ladder configuration is the same. So as you go up, you've got 2 handrails all the way up. Pretty safe situation. You've got a landing platform. Once you're to the door, you open this door. The door opens to the inside. You step on in and away you go. All right, so here we are inside this 360 blind. Like I said, it's been here for 6 years. Number of things that we've always really liked outside of the quality of the 360 blind. First is the pure visibility. This blind has 13 windows. There are no blind spots. You can see anywhere that you need to. All of these windows are customizable, so we can move bow windows and gun windows to various locations depending on the spot that you're installing it. And then the window operation, I think, is second to none. So the 360 blind is a sliding window. It's counterweighted, so I can just simply take my hand, have no motion into or out of the window. I can move that window up and down. I can do it halfway. I can do it a quarter of the way. I can do whatever I need to for my hunting situation without putting my hands in the window, without having to battle that weather strip and the sticking and the noise that comes with it. So a lot of nice things about this. Guys have asked often on this window system, well, doesn't that track freeze or something like that? I've never had that happen. I've never had a customer complain about that happening. This window is recessed 2 inches into the blind with a 2-inch overhang on the roof as well. So you're 4 inches removed from the elements. And that track just does not freeze up. We have not had that issue at all. So lots to like about the 360 blind for the price, for the quality that you're getting, and the customizability of the windows. We really struggle to see why you'd want to buy something else. All right, so we're inside a brand new Grizzly blind here. We've never installed one of these, but we did stop at a dealer to check one out. Already noticed some things in here that are pretty interesting. One, the rotomolded construction seems pretty solid, although this roof seems a little squishy compared to some of the other rotomolded blinds. A couple other things, you still have the same folding window system, but here we are in a brand new blind. We're already seeing leaking to the inside of this. There's a water stain going down the side of this, all the way down to the floor. We do really like the Ozonics unit piece that you can put in here. Problem is there's daylight all the way around it, and you can see in this one there's already water coming through this one, hitting this window, going down to the floor, which again in this is still an OSB floor. So very expensive blind. This one's never been in the field. This is at a dealer, already has water inside of it, a little bit concerning. We're going to crawl up inside this stump blind built by Banks. This has got a little bit of age to it. This blind here is all at 10 years old. So it'll give us an idea of what a Banks blind looks like after about 10 years in the field. All right, so let's go through some of the things we're finding after 10 years in this blind. First and foremost, the exterior shell of this plastic or even the roto-molded blind seems to hold up pretty well, so really no complaints about that. There is significant signs of leaking on this floor. Almost all the leaking is coming through the windows, and you can see the floor is stained pretty significantly. The floor in this blind was OSB, not a very long-term durable product to put in an outdoor blind setting. The windows themselves are all pretty clouded over. It's really kind of hard to see out of them at this point, and all the weather stripping is stuck to the window and is becoming detached from the blind, which is what's causing the leaking. So overall, you'd expect some issues. After 10 years, this blind certainly has them. I don't think this blind has any more issues than the Muddy had after 3 years. So, you know, longevity-wise, a little bit longer, but still, we're 10 years in. I'd expect to still be able to hunt out of this blind, and I think this blind is just about past its useful life. Looking at a Banks Stump 4, we already showed you one of these that was 10 years old in the field. Not a lot has changed. As we look at it, pretty much the same construction. It's a one-piece blind. Coming on the inside, we still have the OSB floor, and we still have the hinged windows, and there are, I think on these now, there's 8 latches you've got to open that window to the inside of the blind. So Banks seems to be pretty consistent. Not a lot of changes over the last 10 years. So let's put an end to this video by ranking the blinds that we've talked about today. Clearly we're a 360 hunting blinds dealer, but we're still going to rank the 360 hunting blind as our #1 blind. The reason being is we see that blind be the most durable. The blind has not shown any signs of leaking. It's extremely price competitive, and it stacks up really, really well when you start comparing to some of the other things we see in the other blinds. So we still continue to put 360 on the top of the list. The rest of the blinds all have some of those same hinge window configuration issues. We see leaking on a number of them over the course of time, and we showed you that in some of the videos that we saw today. The Grizzly and the Orion blind, we haven't had an opportunity to install one yet, and they're both relatively new to the market. So time will tell how those are going to play out. We still rank those higher than the Muddy Bull because we know the Muddy Bull has had some significant issues and continues to show signs of significant issues after very short periods of time. So when you're looking at spending between $2,700 and $4,000 on a blind, we'd again fall back to that 360 hunting blind as our best in class and our #1 choice. But drop us a line. Let us know about your experience with your blind. We'd be glad to interact with you and talk through that. And if you've got questions, please let us know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.